When disabled veterans return from Iraq and Afghanistan, restoring their physical ability is often the first priority. But what about nurturing their creative or intellectual sides? That's the concern of a New York theatrical workshop, which is set out to do something that it hasn't done before. American Morning's Kelly Wallace joins us with that story. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, John. Great to see you. You know, this is a story that really demonstrates the power of the human spirit, because this fall, this group, the National Theatrical Workshop of the Handicapped, will offer for the first time a writing program for disabled veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. And what the group is trying to do now is get the message out to veterans all across the country. And to do that, it is showcasing one of its own, an extraordinary man who hopes vets will follow his lead and step into a world that could change their lives.
Mike Ritchie of Guilford, Connecticut didn't give up 22 years ago when a car accident changed his life forever.
When I put my prosthesis on, I took the first step. It was probably one of the most beautiful things I ever did.
He lost his left leg after an elderly driver lost control during a snowstorm. Mike still feels bad, but not for himself, for the man who hit him.
I prayed that he sees this and that he would know, because I never said to him, it's all right, it's okay. And when things will go on, life goes on.
His life has gone on, even flourished, without a hint of anger. But the 47-year-old knows that's probably not the case for the men and women who lost limbs and arms on the battlefields of Iraq.
I just can't imagine coming back from a place where people are angry at you and they feel like they failed by only having you lose a limb.
You'll just stand. And
right, that's fine.
This is going to be upstage.
Mike's now trying to encourage wounded warriors to join the first of its kind free writing program for disabled veterans. It's sponsored by the National Theater Workshop of the Handicapped. Brother Rick Curry, a Jesuit priest who is the group's founder, came up with the idea after meeting some recently disabled vets from Iraq.
One of the young men asked to see me, and I took him over to a table, and he held my hand, and he said, "I don't know where I am." And I said, "My God, he's lost his center. How can we restore his center?" 2, 3, and 1.
Their message, that while the disabled focus on their physical rehabilitation, they also can benefit by focusing on the soul. That is something Mike learned shortly after September 11th. A former iron worker, he headed to Ground Zero to help. One night he saw something, a woman's shoe.
I just realized that just 5 days ago there was a foot in that shoe and a person. And I kind of sat back for a second and was like, looked around and I was like, life's just too short.
I was alive, and I was so lucky to be alive.
He decided to do something he always wanted to do, perform on stage. It wasn't easy.
God's honest truth, I was more afraid to go up to the stage than amputation, I think.
Almost 2 decades after his accident, he learned through acting he was still dealing with loss.
I thought the healing process was over, and it wasn't.
And now he hopes disabled vets can overcome their fears and take a chance like he did.
It's a leap, but it's a leap taking that prosthesis and putting it on the first time. It's a leap when you put those crutches down and take that first step. It's a leap.
In the
And Mike tells us the unconditional support and love from his family, friends, and his wife gave him the strength and confidence to take that leap a few years ago. Now, to find out more about the Wounded Warriors Writers Program, which will take place this summer up in Maine, or to donate to the program, you can go to the National Theater Workshop of the Handicapped's website at www.ntwh.org or call 212-206-7789.
What a great story, Kelly.
No, really a great program, and they really want to get the message out because so far, John, they haven't really heard from too many veterans, and they think a lot of people are afraid. So they're hoping through Mike's story they can encourage people to sort of pick up the phone and do this.
So you said that he took the leap with the love and support of his family, but how difficult was it for him to get up there on stage? He said in your piece that he was more afraid of getting up on stage and performing than he was about the amputation.
Which is incredible. You know, he says he comes from a rough background, you know, sort of the Italian ghetto in Connecticut. He's a former iron worker. So, you know, people play football, baseball. They don't go on stage and do the theater. So he said it was really, really hard. But again, he said that moment after September 11th when he thought, God, life could be gone like this, that gave him the confidence to do it. And he said, having friends, his family, his wife behind him, and he hopes, John, that the veterans coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan have that same, backing behind them as well.
Does this theater group have any experience working with war veterans in the past, Vietnam, first Gulf War?
The first Gulf War, a little bit. And Brother Curry told us that he saw some vets coming back and from the Gulf War, young men and women who, they're physically impaired. So they came to the theater hoping to help restore their physical abilities. And what they found is this was helping their spiritual side. And so that's what they're hoping here. And they say they feel like the Vietnam veteran generation was a bit of a lost generation, and they don't want that to happen here.
Great confidence builder.
It is.
It really is.
Yes, exactly.
Kelly Wallace, thanks very much.
Thank you, John.